The NFL is back, and FanDuel's got everything you need to play your game, from same-game parlays to live betting. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. 21 plus in present and select states. 18 plus in Kentucky and Wyoming. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Join the Washington Capitals on Tuesday, October 14th to celebrate Hispanic heritage. Purchase tickets through the special offer and get a Los Capitals hat. Make sure to get to Capital One Arena early and join us for a special Hispanic Heritage Block Party at District E, located adjacent to the arena in Gallery Place starting at 5 o'clock in the evening. Be sure to secure your ticket now at washcaps.com/special offers and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with us. That's washcaps.com/special offers.
Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to Phillies Therapy. It is October 6th, 2025. My name is Paul Boyer. Ladies, gentlemen, fanatics of all ages, the Phillies are trailing in the National League Division Series, as you may have heard, following their 5-3 loss on Saturday in Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies had a 3-0 lead that they let slip away. They couldn't do additional damage against Shohei Ohtani, Tyler Glasnow, Roki Sasaki, and a fortified Dodger bullpen. Hitting is hard, but that's what they pay. That's what they pay some of these guys to do, and they couldn't quite do it. They couldn't pad their lead. They couldn't hold it. They had their ace on the mound. They had their good relievers go, and it just didn't quite work out. The Dodgers are a good team. You kind of expect that to happen at some point. Doesn't make it any easier to take. And now the Phillies are climbing uphill. They have this game today, again, Monday, October 6th, where they will try to even the series before heading out west to Dodger Stadium, and heading out west with them tomorrow. I mean, not with them, but alongside them, basically, is my co-host. He is, of course, the Phillies beat writer from The Athletic. He is Matt Gelb. Hi, good morning. I would ask how your weekend was, but I think we kind of know how that weekend went.
I mean, it was fine.
Yeah. Saturday, Matt, was disappointing. It was just one game, right? Like, the Phillies are only down one game in this series. No matter how big the homer was, no matter how, close they got to preserving the lead, it's all in the past. They are down just one game. The Phillies, I don't think, have ever won a playoff series when they've dropped game one, which isn't great.
They have not.
Which is a great historical precedent.
Hasn't played a lot of playoff series in history. Let's be real.
Yeah, well, that's very true. I mean, there's no time like the present, right? Man, why not now? Why not us? Et cetera, et
Well,
cetera.
I mean, I think there's a lot of course, like, a lot of feelings about what happened last year, and is it, well, here it comes again, and I'd say maybe, but maybe not. I mean, I think the 5-game series, things get, they get late real fast, and I technically game 2 is not a must win, but I think you could argue that it's a must win. I mean, if you're down 0-2 going to LA, that's you're probably done. So I think there's a lot to discuss, and I know we have a finite window here because we're recording this on Monday morning, and the game is in I don't know, 8 hours,
9 hours, something like that. Yeah,
9 hours. I can't count. But I know there was a lot of focus put on the pitching decisions in the 6th and 7th inning, and while I think there's a lot to discuss there, I was struck most, Paul, by what the offense didn't do and the underlying things to explain why they didn't do what they didn't do. And it was not like last year. Originally, I thought, they lose the game and you're like, this reminds me a lot of game 1 of the NLDS where, last year where, they had a little bit of a lead. Zach Wheeler pitches well, great, really. And then the bullpen comes in and just sets the whole thing on fire. But you look deeper into this and it was not like last year because the Phillies didn't get themselves out. Remember that was the Trey Turner quote, that I think really stuck with me at the end of the NLDS last year. It's like, we got ourselves out. they didn't chase really in
Nope.
game one. They chased a little bit, but not much. I mean, really, they stayed disciplined to their plan, and they were not swinging at pitches out of the zone, but they didn't do anything with pitches that they got to hit. And I understand, like you said, hitting is hard, and they are facing Shohei Ohtani, who might be the best player ever. But the Dodgers' plan, even after Ohtani, with Glass now and the relievers that followed him, they executed a pretty good plan against the Phillies and had them thrown off, even when being in the strike zone more often than not. Typically, when the pitches are in the zone, the Phillies do damage, and they did not do that in game one. And I'm wondering, Paul, if that has you feeling better or worse about what happened.
I feel better about Saturday than I typically would, than I have in the past when the offense didn't look great. I do. I mean, my whole thing about this playoff season is I'm going into it with a higher mood, a more elevated mood, on purpose. I'm trying to enjoy this more, like really, and it still doesn't feel quite forced even after Saturday's loss, because this is a good team. And you compound that with the Phillies didn't look bad. They didn't look bad, and I can live with that. So when I think about games like Saturday, and with every playoff game, really everything has such a crazy microscope. Yes, the pitching decisions in the 6th and the 7th, not ideal. But let's take a second to rewind that and walk that back, right? Okay, just to reset the scene for everybody. Chris Sanchez is still going in the top of the 6th. There are 2 outs. He gets the first. The frustrating part of that is he got the first 2 outs of the inning in Mookie and Teo. He walks Freddie Freeman. Tommy Edman pokes one through just out of the reach of Bryson Stott. And then Kike Hernandez, who becomes God in the playoffs, hits a double down the left field line, right? 3-2 game. What's set up then is a pinch hit for Alex Call, who may have stayed in if Rob Thompson, for whatever reason, decided to keep rolling with Sanchez through the end of the 6th. But a pitching change there, if you look ahead in the lineup, was complicated by this factor. You had that next spot up in the order, which was Alex Call. Max Muncy eventually pinch hit for him. In the next inning, the guys due up were 8-9-1, in which case that was Andy Pages, Will Smith, who had pinch hit earlier for Ben Rortvedt, and then Shohei Ohtani. So you were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. You make the change to go to David Robertson after Sanchi gives up the double, makes it a 1-run game.
Okay. I mean, I feel like the bat against Kike, it was when they lost the game.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, sure. You get to the next inning, you either go with what they did, which is bring Robertson back on the up-down to face Pages and Smith, knowing that he only had to face those 2 hitters to satisfy the 3-batter minimum on the wraparound, which was, clarified to me. This was part that I had forgotten. I know you can finish an inning to satisfy the requirement, but if you come back out, you have to get to that 3-batter minimum still. The 3rd batter, of course, in the 7th inning, Shohei. Yes, he did not have a good game. He had struck out 3 times to that point. I don't know if you want to start that inning clean with, say, Ryan Kirkring, who we knew ended up looking good, and maybe that changes the calculus for tonight's game.
I think it does.
You didn't know that going in.
You didn't know that going in.
No, you did not know that going in, and so you roll with Robertson, who was not effective coming back out. Not effective. That puts Strom in a bad place. He gets the first 2 outs and then misses his spot badly, and we know the rest is history. There was
a lot of focus on Strom, which I don't understand, because I mean, yes,
Strom was fine.
He came in and got Ohtani and Betts,
yes,
with first and second and nobody out, and yes, he missed his spot by, as he told me, 17 inches to Teoscar Hernandez.
It was a bad miss.
Not a good pitch. It was a bad miss to a guy that you really cannot miss to.
No,
but Dave Robertson hitting Will Smith with a curveball, just I don't know how that happens. And I mean, Robertson, really is, if you're going to look for anyone, that's the guy.
Yeah, I mean, that was really unfortunate. Put Strom in a tough spot, and he almost got out of it. A lot of people are focusing on Andy Pages signaling to the plate, like with location. That was the target, and he missed that target.
Correct.
Teo that was better hitting. And it broadly,
I mean, he missed it. He missed it out over the plate, exactly where he likes it, up and away from a lefty. Yes.
Here's a broader point too. I don't have a number for this, but I think a lot of people would agree with this on principle. The Dodgers punished a couple of mistakes in game one, and the Phillies did not do the same. The Phillies had a couple of things almost put on a tee. Hitting is hard, especially with the stuff that the Dodgers pitchers are flashing and can flash. These guys are good. We have to give the
it
Dodgers
almost
players
looked
a
like
little
the
credit.
Phillies hitters were surprised to see
Yes.
the kind of pitches they saw in the zone,
Yes.
right?
I agree. They got caught off guard.
Yeah.
And this is the thing happening between these playoffs that is throwing me off a little bit. It's not the fact that it's been the bullpen giving up a home run late. Never good. And I know that's what gets to your heart more. You know, we've seen this at least once in each of the past 4 postseasons now. And at least one of these games, some big home run happens. Anyway, I think it's more that the offense just looks like they get out game planned, something.
Yes.
And I don't know why that keeps happening. You look at a couple of these at bats, you know, you pointed it out in your notes that you published over the weekend following the game on The Athletic. And this is the thing that stood out to me the most. It relates to Kyle Schwarber. The Dodgers pitched him in the zone, and he did not do anything with it. He saw more pitches in the zone than just about any game in his playoff career with the Phillies, right? Or like entire career with the Phillies, including a couple of hung curveballs that I remember. And he didn't make it happen. The first ball he put in play was really close. That was as described on the broadcast, a major league pop-up. Sure. And then his other at bat, he looked like he was like you said, surprised to get those pitches in the zone, and he couldn't do the damage. The top of this lineup is critical. JT had the triple, and that should have been supplemental runs, right? That should be supplemental alongside what the top of this lineup does and gives you. If they go 0 for 11, 5 strikeouts, something like strikeout half the time up to the plate, the supplemental runs become the crucial runs, and then you see it all just kind of crumbles, and it wasn't enough against a good team. Matt, I don't know what you do about this, but it is worth pointing out because it is so striking. I am willing to sweep away a lot of just, one game. Okay, one loss, move on, make it happen tonight in game 2. But Schwarber in particular, that's part of a kind of troubling trend that emerged in September, right?
Yeah, and I think this is something the Dodgers picked up on, and he had gotten, we saw at times in September he would get on these little tears, but we saw a lot in September he was missing pitches in the zone, and the numbers back that up. And in September, he had a 21% zone whiff rate. Okay, so 21% of the pitches he saw in the zone, he swung and missed at. That's high.
That's not great.
For comparison, it was 15% in August, 15% in July, 18% in June, 12% in May. It was his highest. It was his highest for a month, I think, since he joined the Phillies, the zone whiff rate. So that is something that the Dodgers picked up on very clearly, and they came right at him. And I guess, so this is where it's going to depend on your perspective here. It's like, how do you feel about coming out of that game, and do you think they're done, or that there's still some life here? And if you look at it this way, like, Schwarber had arguably his worst game with the Phillies in game 1 of the NLDS. He swung and missed at 7 pitches in the strike zone. Paul, I don't think he's ever done that in his career in a single game.
It's so weird.
The most I could find was he had whiffed on 6 pitches in the strike zone in a September game in 2018. 7 pitches in the strike zone that he swung and missed at. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't think I would have ever imagined it happening that way. Sure, I would have seen him, chasing and swinging and missing some sliders down and away or whatever. That's not how it happened. And I think the most interesting dynamic going into game 2 now, Paul, is that they're going to face Blake Snell, who has had a very, very different approach against the Phillies than what they saw from the Dodgers pitchers in game 1. Mm-hmm. And now you talk about, the Phillies looked like they were in between or off guard, with the way the Dodgers pitched them in game 1. Well, now that's got to enter their minds for game 2. There's like, okay, is Snell going to be, in the zone more than he has in the past? Is he going to be trying to get us to chase again? The Phillies in September saw Snell at Dodger Stadium. They swung at 27 pitches out of the strike zone against Snell in that game. That was the most out of zone swings they took against a starter in any game all season. That said, the game didn't have the importance or meaning that this game does have, right? They've hit Snell before in the playoffs, the 2022 NLCS. Obviously sticks out. But Snell has pitched well against the Phillies before, and his numbers against many of the Phillies hitters are quite good. I am fascinated by the Dodgers planning here because they are obviously thinking about it game by game, but also in the larger context of this series is how can we get in the Phillies hitters' heads? Yeah. It's funny because Fabian Ardaya, who covers the Dodgers for The Athletic, my colleague, who's terrific at his job, and I highly recommend if you're a Phillies fan to just, to be reading his stuff because you get perspective from the other side on the series, and I do enjoy that stuff.
I agree.
He asked Blake Snell on Sunday's off day, like if he could apply, or if he noticed or could apply some of the aggressiveness that, Dodgers pitchers had against, Schwarber and Harper, and Snell laughs at the question. He laughs at Fabian because I think everybody on the Dodgers side, they're not mocking anyone, but they're like, they know that they did a really good job against Schwarber and Harper. And Snell says, I don't know how to answer that without giving something away. And obviously they're trying to get in the Phillies' heads.
Oh yeah.
And I think
That's
they were.
I mean, for sure,
just given the way they attacked them, I was stunned. And I think some of the swings you saw and some of the non-swings you saw on pitches in the zone, on middle pitches, I wrote about off the game, and I know that I think people are upset that I didn't focus more on the manager and the bullpen decisions. But to me, I don't know. I thought the top of the lineup lost them that game. Because you get 3-0. The two best at-bats of the game were taken by Brandon Marsh and Alec Boehm in the second inning against Ohtani. Boehm took a 2-1 pitch right off the plate. It was a great take. And that leads to a walk. And then Real Muto hits that ball in the gap. The Marsh and Boehm at-bats were terrific. They really set up that inning. And they were probably the two best at-bats tonight. Marsh had a 2-strike single. Boehm had the walk ahead of him. But when you're up 3-0 in the second inning against Ohtani, there was this feeling in the building, and it's not everybody was juiced, and it's there was this momentum, and the Phillies did not capture that momentum, and all it would have taken, Paul, in my opinion, was one more swing, a solo homer, to make it 4-0, sometime in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth inning, just adding on one run to make it feel to just make it feel like you're seizing that momentum and you're carrying it. And the lineup could not do that. And especially at the top, those guys, I thought, were a major disappointment in game one. And that's not to say it was all their fault, but those are your three best guys. And they took, some of the worst at bats of the entire night.
It's definitely a shared responsibility. Again, I do have to give credit to the Dodgers for being good. They are good baseball players, and
of course,
you can't just kind of let those guys off the hook. And I know it's implicit in what you were saying too. I just fired up a tool that Fangraphs has where you can compare players side by side in a given statistic over the years, and just kind of get a feel for where they rank among their peers in the league. And I just put Ohtani and Snell next to each other for zone percentage, just straight up pitches in the zone, just to get a quick look at that. This season, Ohtani's zone percentage was 45.9%, 46%. That ranked, I didn't set a minimum, so that ranked 203rd in the league. Blake Snell is at 35.7%. That is 805th among pitchers in the league.
And that's the thing is even if they think the Dodgers are trying to fuck with them, excuse my language, but even if the Phillies think the Dodgers are trying to fuck with them, can Blake Snell throw pitches in the zone, enough pitches in the zone consistently? I mean, it's worth wondering because over the course of his career, he really hasn't.
No, and I would say if he does throw a lot of pitches in the zone tonight, that the Phillies will be surprised again. Maybe that's the next surprise. I don't know. It's not a super upbeat feeling. You never feel good trailing in a series. You never feel good dropping the first game at home. There's nothing at the end of the day that you can really say to make that a good thing. I do think, though, that there's a little bit too much anxiety. Just
Well, I think there's
speaking
anxiety. I think there should
anecdotally.
be anxiety, but I think there's probably too much doom, I would say.
Yeah.
I think there should be a fair amount of anxiety. I mean, they lost a game they should have won, and they did it at home, and now, you've got tall task here. The one thing I would say is that you probably saw their best pitcher, and he's not going to pitch game 4. Okay. He will not come back. Ohtani will not come back until there's a game 5, if there is a game 5. So, I mean, I think you got that out of the way, but I mean, I think the doom, I think the anxiety is appropriate. I don't think the doom is necessarily appropriate yet. And, for all we know, it's over. But I think being down 1-0 in the series is not a death sentence. Not yet.
It's not. Look, here, this is a tough spot that I feel myself in coming at this from the fan perspective, because I have two conflicting things coming at me at the exact same time. And I do not know which one of these I feel more at the moment. On the one hand, I am really sympathetic to the thought that, all right, something has gone wrong here. We're in the 4th straight year of playoffs now, have slipped backward in results, and people look at that as a trend and think, oh no, here we go again. And you start to feel a little preemptively sad about that. Add in the state of, it being kind of a miserable time to live in this country broadly, and you have that compounding things, and there isn't a whole lot to really feel that great about outside of sports. And I'm so sympathetic to that. I really am, because I feel a lot of that too. It takes some effort to put that wall up. And then on the other side, I do feel frustrated with the fact that there is a creeping in of this doomed feeling after just one game. If they lose tonight, that's a huge problem. And I'm not going to feel the least bit frustrated by it, because then I will absolutely get it. The Phillies aren't out until they're out, and I'm keeping that mindset until the 27th out of their 3rd loss in this series, if that happens. But I'm frustrated by the inability to kind of move on when a loss happens with this team. We saw it a little bit during the regular season too. It's less okay to lose in the playoffs for sure, but you gotta turn it around. You gotta pick yourself up a little bit. You can't keep sliding.
They've done a decent job of that during the season. I do. I mean, I think there were very few times. I mean, when you and I talk about something, their longest losing streak, or what was your stat about?
Oh, I don't mean the players. I don't mean the players.
Okay.
I believe in the players to do that. Absolutely.
You're talking about the fans. I can't talk about the fans.
Yeah, and I know. I'm soapboxing a little bit here. It's when it comes down to it, if I look ahead and I think about what winning for this team might mean, I don't care so much about the players being happy. Okay. Like there are some guys who I'll feel really, really good about. There are some guys I will feel indifferent about. There's some guys I do not care if they are happy. I would like to see my team win. More than that, I want to see this fan base happy. I am more invested in the elation that could come from my people, us, off the field, really, because that is what I am a part of. I am a part of that crowd. I have come to know over the last, 15 plus years, with the rise of good social media before it went to shit, that there are people out there in this fan base who are awesome people, who have really smart, funny, incisive, different perspectives on this, who I never would have known just by going to games and being a regular old fan outside of my own friend group that I already had coming into that age of, social media and learning about this. And because I picked up on that wavelength and started surfing that with all of these other people who are part of this, that is what I am invested in. And so to see people start to turn and get sour on this team and its prospects and its chances in this series after one game, that is what is grating at me, because I want to see the fan base be happy. I want to see the shots of the crowd going nuts. I was disappointed in the game 1 crowd, because as soon as things started,
I thought the game 1 crowd was good.
Okay, all right, then it's a broadcast
thing
thing.
Started. I don't know. I mean, the crowd was really good early in the game, and then when things started to turn, when the
All right,
team
good.
did not play well, then the crowd was stressed. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, what are you supposed to, when I don't know what you're I don't know what you're supposed to do when
Well,
the
I
team
don't.
doesn't play well. But you just gonna stand up and clap? No, I mean, you're
Well,
not.
no,
No.
it's become a chicken or egg thing, Matt. I think because I think the fans want the team to give them a reason to cheer, right?
Of
Sensible.
course, yeah.
And I think the team feeds off of it when the fans are loose and loud and having a part in the game, playing a part
Certainly,
in the
but I
game.
mean,
But I don't know which comes first. I don't know who breaks through first.
yeah, it's got to be the players.
It's got to be the players. Yes,
yeah, because the crowd, when the game started, the first few innings, the crowd was fantastic. It was really good.
Well, yeah,
It was really good, and
And
that's
that's
why
what-
I think they did not capture that momentum in the middle of the game. I think they really let the Dodgers stay in it.
Matt, that's never been the problem to me. I think when the team is playing well and winning, yeah, of course, I expect that to be good. It's the minute things start to turn around that it feels like the nervousness comes in too quickly. But that's me. I can be called.
I can
unfair
tell
for
that you're
I
very
think.
stressed because now you're pontificating about the fans and social media, and I can tell that this is you're really showing how you feel.
I don't
now,
think
without
it's not.
telling us.
No, it's not a stress reaction. I don't think because I'm at peace with how this series goes, and I've been that way since before it started. I know the Dodgers are a good team. I know the Phillies are a good team, and I expect this to be a tough series. And through one game, it has been a tough series. It's just a shame that our side was the one to lose that game. I don't have a ton on the line emotionally if this team loses. I don't. I'm not going to be a wreck if this team loses the series. It's just the way I watch the game now. I want them to win, and I'm rooting for them to win. I think the absence of rabid diehardism can sometimes be viewed as being too casual. I don't think that's me. If that's what you think I am, then okay. But that's not me. I'm not stressed about tonight's game. I don't feel as though so much hinges on its outcome. Will the prospects look good for the rest of the series if they lose? No, but I'm not going to be dreading the rest of the time spent watching this team when things go weird. I didn't fall on the floor when Hernandez hit that home run. Like everything didn't collapse around me. And it didn't collapse around the Phillies either. They got the bases loaded in the 8th inning. They kept going, thanks again to the bottom half of the order. They're not
There were some
out
people.
of it.
There were people complaining about the Sosa pinch hitting there. That was absolutely the right play against a lefty. I mean, and that's like not even. I don't know. That's
no. I hadn't thought about it, but it made perfect sense once it actually came to
total
fruition.
sense.
Matt, I want people. This is my impossible dream. This is Miss America strolling to the mic, being asked what she wants of the world and saying "world peace." I want everybody to be happy, and right now, it's hard because I feel like I'm trying to, brace a leaky dam with just my own two fists, my own two hands bracing all the stones. I'm trying though. I want this thing to have a happy ending. I want this phase of this team's journey to end well. I want there to be what the late 2000s team had. I got to live through that. I got to experience their rise and eventual coronation as World Series champions. They were a dominant force in the sport, and they will always be remembered as title bringers. The 08 team, the guys who were part of that 08 team, we still remember, Scott Air for that reason. Like we remember who all these guys are. And I'm ready for that next wave of fans, these next, and me too, sure, but the next group of people who might not have had as much of a conscious memory of 2008 as you and I did, and folks older than us, to get that chance, because this is a great chance for that to happen. And that would give people that happiness. That is what I am rooting for. If everybody is down about that, that doesn't make me happy. I understand it, but it doesn't make me happy to see that.
When it comes to what your family eats and drinks, you know your choices matter. You're the expert. because you know what fits your life. And getting it right starts with good information. That's why America's beverage companies are sharing more information about our ingredients at goodtoknowfacts.org. No spin, no judgments, just the facts straight from the experts for more than 140 beverage ingredients. Visit goodtoknowfacts.org.
Join the Washington Capitals on Tuesday, October 14th to celebrate Hispanic heritage. Purchase tickets through the special offer and get a Los Capitals hat. Make sure to get to Capital One Arena early and join us for a special Hispanic heritage block party at District E, located adjacent to the arena in Gallery Place starting at 5 o'clock in the evening. Be sure to secure your ticket now at washcaps.com/special offers and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with us. That's washcaps.com/special offers.
Los cambios nunca se detienen, pero no importa lo que cambie en 5 años, hay una cosa que se mantendrá igual, el precio de tu internet. Con los 5 años de precio garantizado de Xfinity, tienes 5 años del Wi-Fi más confiable, con nuestro mejor equipo incluido, a un precio que se mantiene exactamente igual. Se aplican restricciones, solo nuevos clientes residenciales, impuestos y cargos extra y sujetos a cambio. Wi-Fi más confiable basado en Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report de agosto 2024.
When the flu is keeping you up at night, don't try to tough it out. Knock out your flu symptoms with NyQuil Intense Flu. You got this. It provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep well through the night. NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching, fever, best sleep with a flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Do you want to talk about the pitching for game 2?
Yeah, we should.
Well, I think this, now that you're done with your soapbox, I think...
Yeah, thank you.
Game 2 obviously is about adjustments. And can the Phillies apply the offensive adjustments while the Dodgers maybe adjust their approach, with a different pitcher on the mound and a different style of pitcher on the mound? The adjustments are a big question and a big thing going into this game. And to me, the adjustments also are on the Phillies pitching side. And I've seen suggestions that, screw the bullpen, just have Jesus Luzardo go as long as he can. That is not how they're thinking about tonight. That is not how they're thinking about tonight. I mean, I think they will be aggressive if they have to be with Luzardo. And we've seen this guy really get on a roll in the middle of games and really improve even during starts, as he goes through lineup second and third time. This is the playoffs though, and this is the Dodgers. And I'm going to guess that, there's going to be some pressure points in the 4th or 5th inning. And they're prepared, I think, to be aggressive. Both Ranger Suarez and Aaron Nola will sit in the bullpen again for game 2. And if they use one of those guys, if they use Suarez, then Nola's going to start game 3. I think that they would like to avoid that. But you got to win tonight, right? I mean,
yeah,
you got to win tonight. So Luzardo is interesting for a lot of reasons. There are plenty of reasons to believe that he could thrive and rise in this moment. The sweeping slider being one of them, the changeup that he's thrown more often in September. Really good pitch. And I think if anything, it's gotten some guys thinking, maybe some guys were sitting on sweeper for a little bit in the middle of the year there. I think now that it's the mix, the better mix has really helped him. That said, we've also seen moments where Luzardo can really run up high pitch counts. And every pitch in the playoffs is just so much more stressful than a regular season pitch on a pitcher. We saw that with Sanchez. Like, you saw him really start to lose command and, it's not like he wasn't over 100 pitches, but I mean, it's just so much more stressful in October. Every pitch, every moment, every run, it just means so much more. And I think they will be aggressive with Luzardo tonight. Does Orion Kerkering deserve a bigger spot tonight? I think so. And I think they're leaning there. The inning he pitched, and they were down, right? I mean, it's 8th inning and they're down by 2. So you don't know how he would have reacted coming into a game with a lead in the 7th inning. But that was probably the best inning he's ever thrown. He got 3 outs on 10 pitches. He threw 100 miles an hour for the first time in his career. He threw some really good sliders. He looked confident. He went after guys. I'm going to guess that he gets a bigger spot tonight. And I'm also going to guess that Duran throws more than if they have a lead, he will be throwing more than an inning tonight.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. He also wasn't overextended, even with the off day. I mean, he'd be coming back and available tonight anyway. But
yeah, the off day helps everybody.
Yeah, there is one thing to the point about Luzardo going a little bit longer. If he does do that, and I'm totally fine with being more aggressive with the hook, I am. If he does go longer, I just looked this up real quick. The only pitcher
his
in
numbers
the only pitcher in the league to face more hitters the third time through the order and have a lower OPS allowed than Jesus was Garrett Crochet.
Really?
And if you extend that out to only facing 100 or more batters for the third time all year, Jesus is 7th in the league.
It's been okay. What about the second time through?
So in order here for Luzardo, the first time through the order, batters had a 683 OPS against him, but Luzardo's strikeout to walk ratio was almost 6. It was excellent. Second time through the order, OPS allowed drops to 675. So minuscule drop, but a drop. And then third, it goes down to 556. It drops over 120 points. I think a large part of that is a bit of a BABIP drop because the strikeout to walk ratio shrinks. And I think that's where you're kind of being like, all right, that's offset. In a playoff environment, the OPS allowed went down, and that's excellent. But the fact that the walk rate went up and the strikeouts kind of shrunk a little bit, that gives you pause, especially against a good lineup.
I think, yeah, sure. In an ideal world, yeah. I mean, they let him keep going. I mean, it'd be much easier if they scored some runs.
Yeah. yes, it would.
Maybe you are, more willing to let him go a little longer if you have a 4-run lead, for example. That again, it all comes back to that essentially for me. I think they're going to be aggressive with him tonight. And they almost have to be. And, I think there's a lot of reasons to believe that his arsenal can succeed against the Dodgers. You're probably going to see the same line for the Dodgers. I think Will Smith's going to come in again in the middle of the game like they did in game 1. They're still trying to build him up, I think. I mean, they pitched Ohtani well.
Yes, they did.
And they pitched Teoscar Hernandez well until that last at bat. I mean, Sanchez really pitched him well. And I understand why they let Sanchez face Kike Hernandez there. As soon as Robertson comes in the game there, like they're pinch hitting with Max Muncy, whether it's for Kike or whether it's for the next guy. It was Alex Call who ends up getting pinch hit for, and Muncy bats against Robertson. And that is a matchup that the Phillies did not love. Okay. They knew it was going to happen. And at that point, they felt like their hand was forced because Sanchez was looking a little tired, gives up the double on a slider, which was an interesting choice. A left on right slider to Enrique Hernandez. I don't know. That was, I don't know. That was a choice. But when Robertson comes in to face Muncy, did you notice something about that at bat at the beginning? He wasn't trying to throw him a strike. I mean, there was a base open. Okay. So when Kike is batting, it's first and second, 2 outs.
Oh, I remember what you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
No, the broadcast noted that too, I remember.
Right. And so the reason why they don't go to Robertson right there is because Robertson against Muncy with first and second and 2 outs, there's nowhere to they did not like that, the idea of that. They went to Robertson there because, okay, he just gave up a double. It's now a 1-run game, a little sweatier. We're going to take our Robertson versus Muncy matchup, but we're kind of okay with that because he could put him on here and it's not the end of the world. And he threw Muncy 3 balls to begin the at bat. Muncy then swung at ball 4 and fouled it off. And then ended up the pitch he put in play was also a ball. And he hit it back to Robertson. So that was not a matchup they loved.
Yeah.
It was not. But they were forced into it. And I honestly can't really find fault with the pitching decisions they made. Given the information that we had, given the matchups that we know, I think the only spot that I might disagree with is that I would have thought about Suarez there. Not for that, not for that moment, but for Suarez to start the 7th inning.
Okay. What?
I would have
okay.
almost wanted to go there. But I also understand. I mean, it's not something that Suarez has done all season. So let's say he comes in and, they have a 1-run lead in the 7th, and all of a sudden he puts guys on, and you're like, how could you put this guy in the spot where, he hasn't done this all season, and you just put him in this spot, and, you lost the game because of it. So I see why they didn't do it. I would have thought about there if he's going to go sit back there. And we saw look what the Dodgers did with Glasnow. I mean, Glasnow sat out there and they're like, we're going to, they used him and they were aggressive. And he faced way more hitters than I thought he was going to face. He ended up facing Schwarber and Harper, which I was with a lefty warming up. And I was like, what is going on here? And it worked out for the Dodgers, but I would have thought about Suarez there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that situation arises again tonight in
maybe.
Game 2, and Suarez is in the game there. I don't know. I mean, a lot's on Jesus Luzardo here, and you hate to say that, but a lot more is on the offense. I mean, they need to do something, especially the guys at the top. And these pitching decisions become easier when you have scored 4 or 5 runs.
Yeah. All right, well, that's the situation. That is where we stand here on Monday prior to Game 2 of the National League Division Series. The Phillies trail 1-0, looking to level things out before heading west for Game 3 and hopefully Game 4 out in Dodger Stadium. Matt and I will be back with you at some point again in the middle of this series.
Wednesday morning?
Wednesday-ish, probably sounds about right. We'll see how things are then.
Flying all day on Tuesday. Right?
Yeah, safe travels there. We'll check back in with everybody. We'll see how things go. Hopefully the Phillies are not playing with their backs up against the wall for the rest of this series and can level things out tonight. All we can do is hope the offense wakes up a little bit. We'll see.
Do you know how many times the Phillies have scored more than 3 runs in their last 7 postseason games?
Oh, dear. Do I want to know this answer? What is it?
Once.
Oh, boy.
The runs by game, descending order, just from most recent to least recent, is 3 runs, 1 run, 2 runs, 7 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, 1 run. Do you want to guess the one game that they've won in the last 7 times they've played in the postseason, Paul? The game where they scored 7 runs.
How about that? Wow. Man. How many of those were at home, too, that they didn't score enough? Because it feels like that's been happening a lot lately. 5
of their last 7 postseason games have been played at home.
Like, see, that the mysticism around CBP is gone for the moment. It needs to be rebuilt.
Sure, yes,
it needs to be rebuilt because that's just everything about it. It's kind of crumbled. Really, Arizona took that away, and everything since has just been ordinary. Got to rebuild it. It starts tonight, right? Just you got to start somewhere. Journey of the 100 miles starts with a step or whatever. If the Phillies level things out, things look a lot different. Then it's a best of 3. These short series, man, they're minefields. We'll see what can happen. They have the talent. They just need to put it all together and actually make it happen. As always, the more things change, the more the calendar advances, the more the things I say that come out of my mouth when the Phillies are trailing in a series stay the same. But that's it. It's right there in front of them. They just gotta play like the team they are meant to be, the 96-win team from the regular season. We'll see if that happens against Blake Snell and the Dodgers tonight in Philadelphia. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Phillies Therapy, part of the Believe Podcast Network. For Matt, I am Paul, and we'll catch you again later this week.
Join the Washington Capitals on Tuesday, October 14th to celebrate Hispanic heritage. Purchase tickets through the special offer and get a Los Capitals hat. Make sure to get to Capital One Arena early and join us for a special Hispanic Heritage Block Party at District E, located adjacent to the arena in Gallery Place starting at 5 o'clock in the evening. Be sure to secure your ticket now at washcaps.com/special offers and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with us. That's washcaps.com/special offers.